Good morning. I'm Amanda Hayes, and my pronouns are she, her, and I serve as your Justice Coordinator on behalf of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus, Ohio. Welcome this morning. We acknowledge that this land, the hills, woods, and rivers, is the Adena, Hopewell, Wyandotte, Miami, Seneca, Erie, the land, and Cayuga, the land of these people. We acknowledge the injustice of the theft of this land and their continuing presence despite attempts at annihilation of the indigenous people of this place. And we pledge ourselves to justice and repair, both with the land and the people. And now I would ask you to please rise in body or in spirit to sing our opening hymn, number 299, in our gray hymnal, Make Channels for the Streams of Love.
Channels for the streams of love, where they may broadly run, and love has all the flowing streams to fill them every one. But if any time we cease to
Good morning. I'm Jim Conlon, and I'm happy to serve this congregation as a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he, him. We are so glad that you are here. Our congregation aspires to be welcoming to all, and we want you to know that you belong. However many times you have entered our doors or tuned in to our YouTube channel, we are so glad that you are here, and we welcome you. If this is your first time visiting with us, be sure to stop at the greeter stand out in the hall to receive your first-time visitor gift if you've not already received it. Please let us know that you are here today by scanning the QR code on your order of service or on the screen. You will also find a digital order of service, our Joys and Sorrows form, and our donation page at this link. We have two announcements this morning. First, we have an announcement from our rummage sale team. Oh, just go ahead and read. Oh, thought someone was going up. Just pretend I'm the rummage sale guys. It's right. Rummage as a verb means to search unsystematically through a mass or receptacle. A rummage sale is defined as the sale of miscellaneous donated goods conducted by a nonprofit, such as a church, to help support its programs. Yes, you guessed it, we are asking you to rummage through your closets, garage, attic, and basement for miscellaneous treasures. You discover more room in your home, raise money for First UU, and share your treasures with others. Our rummage sale will be held on Saturday, March 25th from 8:30 to 3. From today until March 24th, start the spring cleaning sprint. Stack your empty Amazon boxes with clean, usable household items, collectibles, baby goods, and more. Watch your email this week for a complete list. Ready, set, rummage. All right. Second, don't forget to mark your calendars for our mid-year meeting, which will be held Sunday, February 19th. The meeting will begin at 12:45 and will be hybrid, allowing you to attend either online or in person. We will need a quorum in order to conduct our business, so we hope that you will join us. There are 2 items that we will be voting. The first is the minutes of the June 12th, 2022 annual meeting, and the second, most joyfully, is a vote to ordain Meg McGuire into UU ministry. Yay! We will be voting using OPA Vote, the online voting system we have used in the past. Look for your ballot to come in the email address we have for you around February 1st. We would now like to invite any children who want to help bring in light, meet Gus out in the hall. Everyone else, please join me in centering ourselves as we listen to this morning's prelude.
No? Okay. It is now. I'm Reverend Kathleen Fowler, and I am privileged to serve as your Minister of Pastoral Care, and my pronouns are she and her. It is now time for our children to bring in the light. Here they come. Y'all want to come up to the front row? Come on up, come on up. Our chalice lighting words this morning are entitled Drawn Together by Jennifer Grayson. We come together every week, bound not by creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods. Yet we are drawn together by a belief that how we are in this world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world.
Thank you, Ezra, for your help lighting our chalice. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Director of Religious Exploration, and my pronouns are she, they. Please remember to send your children to class with their coats, as many of our young folks enjoy exploring the playground together each Sunday. To volunteer or learn more about our family programs, email me at amber@firstuucolumbus.org. Today's story is called Snow in Jerusalem, written by Deborah DaCosta and illustrated by Cornelius Van Wright and Yinghua Hu. In the walled old city of Jerusalem, which some call the center of the universe, Avi waited. He sat on the stone front step of his family's apartment. The silver mezuzah in the doorframe above him sparkled in the sunlight. Then he saw her, the small, plump cat with long white fur. "Shalom, hello, little cat," he said softly. "I have some warm chicken for you." The cat purred as she ate. Then she rubbed against Avi's legs. "Avi, my love, are you feeding that cat again?" his mother teased from the kitchen window. "We'll never get rid of it now." But Avi loved this fluffy white cat. "There is no other cat like you in all of Jerusalem," Avi whispered. "You are a miracle, a gift from Hashem, the Holy One." The cat gazed at Avi with big eyes as clear and blue as the sea. "Meow," she said. Then she padded hastily down the wind-chilled street. Avi watched, wondering where she was going. Suddenly, he had an idea. "Cat," Avi called, "next time I will follow you." The cat moved through the winding streets of the Jewish quarter. She ducked into shaded, cobbled alleyways and pranced through sunlit courtyards fragrant with the sweet smell of rosemary. Soon she reached the hustle and bustle of the Muslim quarter. Here, the narrow streets were filled with shiny brass pots, colorful plates, and tapestries the color of fire. Hamoudi waited outside his family's small restaurant as the cat headed towards him. "Ah, there you are, little white one. Isaac, how are you?" Hamoudi asked gently. He put down a plate of lamb and a bowl of water. The cat purred as she ate and drank. Then she rubbed against Hamoudi's legs. "Hamoudi, my darling, are you feeding that cat again?" his mother teased from the open doorway. "It will never leave us now." But Hamoudi loved the silky white cat. "There is no other cat like you in all of Jerusalem," he whispered. "I know you must be a miracle, a gift from Allah." "Meow," the cat said. Then she padded off through the crowded streets. Hamoudi watched, wondering where she was going. And suddenly, he had an idea. "Cat," he called, "next time I will follow you." But the next time did not come. In the Jewish quarter, Avi waited for many days. The cat was nowhere to be seen. There were many other cats, skinny cats with wild, hopeless eyes. They darted in and out of alleys and climbed on garbage bags. But not one of them was the beautiful white cat. Avi worried. And in the Muslim quarter, Hamoudi waited too. Each day, he prepared the cat's favorite dish of lamb leftovers, but there was no sign of her. There were many other cats, big ones and small ones. All had bony ribs and patchy fur. Not one of them was the beautiful white cat. Hamoudi worried. It was many weeks later that the white cat appeared on Avi's doorstep. "What happened to you, cat?" Avi cried. "You look so skinny, and you look dirty, too." He ran to the kitchen, rushed outside, and put fish and a big bowl of water at the little cat's feet. She ate and drank heartily and purred. But this time, when the cat started on her way, Avi followed her. He chased her through the shaded alleys and carved archways of the Jewish quarter. He followed her all the way into the Muslim quarter. There, the cat padded right up to a small restaurant. As Avi watched in amazement, she jumped into the lap of a boy who fed her something from his hand. Avi frowned. "That's my cat," he shouted. "Is not," Hamoudi yelled back. "She's my cat." The cat jumped out of Hamoudi's lap and began running down the street. "Now see what you've done," Hamoudi accused. "Now see what you've done," Avi answered back. But just then, something unusual happened. It began to snow in Jerusalem. Snowflakes floated gently through the air, swirling and twirling on their way to the earth. The cat stopped for a moment and sat in the feathery whiteness. She sniffed at the crisp, cold air. "My cat is getting all wet," Hamudi said. "You mean my cat is getting all wet. She could freeze in this weather," Avi added. Hamudi remembered how thin and scraggly the cat had seemed when she was in his lap. "We'd better help her then," he said firmly. The boys ran together, but the cat rounded the corner and disappeared into the streets of the Christian quarter. They tried to follow her paw tracks, but the spinning snow erased them faster than they could be found. Side by side, the two boys continued through the streets into the Armenian quarter, catching glimpses of white fur through gusts of snow. "What if she's in a big hole somewhere, already half frozen?" Hamudi asked. "Then we will warm her with our coats," Avi said. But fear, like a dark cloud, began to follow them through the cold streets. "Shatul, cat," Avi sobbed in Hebrew. "Shatul, shatul." "Oda, cat," Hamudi cried out in Arabic. "Oda, oda." The boys searched through street after street. Finally, they heard a faint sound like the muffled whine of the wind. They stopped and stepped closer to the darkened alley. Hearing the sound again, Avi and Hamudi began to run, slipping and sliding on the snow-covered street. The cries were coming from some bags and cardboard cartons. The boys pushed them aside until they came to one small box. Curled inside was the white cat. She was not half frozen, and she was not alone. "It's a miracle," Avi said with a smile. "She has kittens, 4 of them. Truly a miracle," Hamudi agreed, kneeling down to peer in the box. Avi laughed. "No wonder the mama got so skinny." Hamudi nodded as he rubbed the fuzzy velvet tummy of one kitten. "What will we do with all these cats?" Avi asked. "It's too dangerous for them to live outside in a box. They could freeze or be killed by mean dogs or bad people." Hamudi thought about all the stray cats of Jerusalem with bony ribs and patchy fur. "We cannot just let them live on the streets." "Then we must take them home," Avi told him. "Yes," said Hamudi. "There's plenty of room at my house for 5 cats." "Oh, no," Avi said quickly. "I saw the mother first, so I get to take them home." Hamudi scowled. Silence crackled in the air between them. Then Hamudi said sharply, "How do I know you saw the mother cat first? You can't prove it." "Neither can you," Avi snapped back. Leaving her kittens, the cat padded over to the spot where the boys stood arguing. She began to purr loudly and rub against the legs of each boy. Her tracks made a figure 8 around them in the snow. Avi bit his lip and looked away. "She does not want us to fight," he said slowly. Hamudi stared down at his feet. "She wants peace." "Then we will share," Avi said. Hamudi smiled. So the boys rummaged through the bags and cartons until they found 2 boxes that were just the right size. They put 2 kittens in each box. "Who will get the mother cat?" Avi asked. "I think she wants us to share her too," Hamudi said with a grin. "Yes," Avi agreed. "She can travel back and forth between us the way she did before." Then the 2 boys headed back to their homes in the old city of Jerusalem, the place some call the center of the universe. With great care, each boy carried 2 kittens in a small box. They were followed proudly by a blue-eyed white cat they named Snow. The end. In this story, Avi and Hamudi put love at the center in order to best care for the cat and her kittens. Both boys had to set aside their own opinions and desires to make room for generosity and peace. As we examine our core values today, I invite you to consider the wholeness we can achieve when we center love together. I now invite the congregation to form a sheltering arc of love as we sing our young people back to their families and out to class.
Good morning. My name is Brandon Moss. I am the director of music here at First UU. My pronouns are he and him. Today is Choir Open House Sunday. So we've got people singing with us this morning who are members of Chalice Choir and members of Spirit of Life Choir, and also people who are visiting singers who are not regular members of either choir, and we are so thrilled to have all of them here this morning. So let's give a hand for all of our choir. Our song this morning is an arrangement of the spiritual Wade in the Water, arranged by Dr. Tony McDonald. Tony McDonald was the director of music here for many years, who sadly passed away in the summer of 2020 to COVID. Tony was a very multifaceted musician, arranger, composer, and a scholar of music by Black composers. He edited, I believe, 3 different editions of a book that was collecting all of the music written about Dr. Martin Luther King. So we miss Tony, and we're glad that we can keep his legacy alive through his music here. So this is Wade in the Water by Tony McDonald.
Beautiful. Our centering words this morning come from Rebecca Ann Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world. The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart. The gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, waiting. Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love. Any of these can draw down the prison door, hoard bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love. You must answer this question: what will you do with your gifts? Choose to bless the world. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours. And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance, a benevolent rage, a revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting that which is sacred will not be defiled. Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty and this rage. The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search for the sources of power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation. More, the choice will draw you into community. The endeavors shared, the heritage passed on, the companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith, the life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship, the company of the earth, the chorus of life welcoming you. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. Please remain seated and join me in singing hymn 1031, Filled with Loving Kindness, which will be on the screen as well as in the teal hymnal.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Okay, we're going to test and make sure you can hear me. Good morning. I am Reverend Kelly McNeil. My pronouns are she, her, and I serve as your minister of congregational life here at First UU. It is good to be with you this morning. As someone whose favorite color is pink, you would think that this would be one of my favorite months. Everywhere we go, we see pink and red hearts and glitter. When you walk into any store, it feels like you're being smacked in the face with this idea of love. A perfect, idealistic, pinch your cheeks kind of love. Candy aisles are full of heart-shaped chocolates. Flower departments stock up on red roses. Cardboard cutout cupids hang from ceilings. When I worked at Kroger, we always knew that it was either the day before or actually Valentine's Day by all of the heart-shaped boxes and bundles of flowers that would come down our lines. We'd be greeted by frazzled, tired faces giving us a half smile as if to say, yep, it's that time of year again. On my first date with my husband, we talked about relationships and what we most value out of relationships. And because it happened to be around Halloween, we began talking about holidays. What holidays hold the most significance for us, and which ones we could do without. I felt like I had found my person when we got to the topic of Valentine's Day. I had already shared that my least favorite holiday was Halloween because I absolutely hate feeling scared. When I said that my second least favorite holiday was Valentine's Day, I saw a look of relief on his face. We discovered that we, in fact, felt the same way. Now, if Valentine's Day is one of your favorites, that is fantastic. But for me, experiencing everything that I have experienced in previous relationships, I know Valentine's Day to be a day when people who tended to treat me pretty poorly the other 364 days of the year would pretend like everything was suddenly sunshine and rainbows, simply because the calendar told them to. I remember telling Jay that if he got me anything on Valentine's Day, I would interpret it as an obligatory gift and not something that came from a place of love. I would much rather receive a bundle of flowers on a random Tuesday, because for me, that would show me that he was thinking of me and wanted to do something special simply because he wanted to and not because he felt he had to. Over the years, I've spent a lot of time thinking about love. What is love? Many of the world's religions proclaim that they are a religion of love, that love is at the core of what they do. But what does that mean? It's a handy little catchphrase, but if it stays there, it doesn't really have much meaning. We UUs are not immune to this. We often throw around this word as if what we mean by it is just common knowledge, something that everyone has already agreed has a shared definition. At cursory glance, the new proposed Article 2, what we began talking about 2 weeks ago, the part of our association's bylaws that lay out our principles, our purpose, and our values, falls into this same theme. You can see in the illustration that will appear on the screen, this is the new proposed Article 2 in picture format, and love is quite literally at the center. I'll admit part of my initial annoyance with this proposal was because of this. UUs often proclaim that love is at the core of our faith tradition. We have the Side with Love campaign and the bright yellow t-shirts that we wear to protest. We refer to that spirit of life, what some of us call God, as love. Our hymnals are full of hymns that have love in the title. The theme of my own ordination this past August was love your people. But what does it mean? Are we another faith tradition that holds on to this word because it sounds good? In the Article 2 report, the Commission says that the purpose of the Unitarian Universalist Association is to actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. They go on to say, as Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation, and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Okay. So this helps us a little bit. The Commission refers to a liberating love, as well as the spiritual discipline of love. But again, what does this mean? I was actually having a conversation with Brian, our Director of Administration, about this just a couple of days ago. I shared my frustration at the vagueness of the language, how it feels like it isn't giving me answers about what it means. In the process of writing this sermon, I had a little bit of an aha moment. What I was actually saying to Brian was that I wanted the Commission to tell me what love means. And this is inherently not you. We are not a faith tradition that has a governing body that tells us what we believe. My Catholic upbringing was creeping in, reminding me of the convenience of having someone out there tell me what something means, what I believe, tell me how I think. When I realized this, it felt like all of a sudden things started to make more sense. What I had unknowingly been hoping for as I anticipated what the Commission was going to say was a creed, a statement of faith, of shared beliefs of a community that summarizes that faith tradition's core tenets. Instead, what the Commission gave us was a starting point. They were tasked with speaking to thousands of UUs across the country to try and find what people believe to be, quote, behind the current principles, what our theology is grounded on. And that, they found, was love. Not a general definition of what love means, but a desire and a striving to be our best selves in our highs and our lows. To be our best selves in relationship with one another. To be accountable to one another as we search for our own truth and meaning of what love means. In researching more about what the Article 2 Commission wrote throughout their study, I found that they give us examples of types of love. Things like accountable love, liberating love, or love as a spiritual discipline. Our opening hymn describes love as a stream. This stream is one in which we must continue to make channels so that it can flow freely, or else it will become parched and dried. Our concluding hymn, Answering the Call of Love, talks about communal love. Our hands joined together as hearts beat as one. It cautions us that fear could cause us to keep love tightly bound, denying others to see the beauty that we have found. And just a few minutes ago, we sang what is one of my favorite hymns, which talks about love as a kindness that fills us, both as individuals and as a community. The words to this hymn are a traditional Buddhist meditation, and where I actually find meaning in the idea of love at the center. When I'm feeling anxious or overwhelmed, when I'm being called names or being accused of things that I know I've never said or done, I find that when I can get my brain to slow down and breathe deeply, I offer up this prayer to be filled with loving kindness. As I make it through verse 1, focused on filling myself with loving kindness, I move on to verse 2, in which I pray for loving kindness to fill that other person. By the time I make it to verse 3, in which I pray for loving kindness in our covenant with one another, I find myself a little more calm and a little more able to respond from that place of love. Now, don't get me wrong. There are certainly days when this does not work for me. Days when I snap, when I say something in an unkind way, or when the person is being too cruel to me that I can't imagine them being filled with any sense of loving kindness in that moment. And for me, that's when I find that love takes on the form of being a liberating love. Often we think that in order to be a people who hold love at the center, it means that we have to keep trying and keep coming back to the table time after time, trying to come back into covenant with one another over and over. But sometimes love takes on a liberating quality, reminding us that it's not loving to stay in a situation which is harmful to us. A situation which limits our safety or our freedom of belief and thought. Covenant does not mean returning to harmful situations in which both parties are not willing to do the work. As the saying goes, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Yes, people can grow and change, but this idea of love at the center also includes loving yourself enough to know when efforts at repairing covenant may need to be put on hold for a while. So when the commission puts love at the center of their proposed changes to Article 2, I don't think that they're talking about an obligatory sort of love. A love that feels more like a burden, a love that might feel shallow or painful. They give us examples of types of love that is liberating, love that is transformational. And as we continue talking about Article 2 and diving into the 6 core values that surround the chalice in this image, I think it will become more clear about how the commission was able to take such an array of diverse thoughts and ideas and find that they each center around the idea of love. But no matter how much we may want it, they are not going to give us a definition of what that word in the center means. That is for each of us, individually and collectively, to discover for ourselves. What does it look like for me to believe that love is the grounding on which I base my values? What does that mean for First UU, that love is the grounding of our values? We're going to keep exploring this together. We'll be in conversation with one another. We can debate with one another. We can find our commonalities and our differences. And at the end of the day, what brings us back here to this place is something. As we continue to unpack this report, that something may become more clear for you if it's not already. But the pretty awesome thing about this place is that we, all of us, including those of us that you might see on the chancel on a Sunday morning, are going to do that together with love at the center. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.
Hello, there we go. Our Share the Plate recipient for February is People's Justice Project. Founded in 2014, the People's Justice Project, or PJP, builds the power of Black and brown people disproportionately impacted by state violence, mass criminalization, and incarceration by centering community organizing and leadership development. People's Justice Project has supported the families of Casey Goodson Jr., Andre Hill, Makia Bryant, and many others killed by local police as part of PJP's Work for Change. First UU has partnered with PJP in multiple ways since 2016, from providing meeting space to showing up to actions and doing research on Columbus policing. We hope to continue and strengthen our relationship. And now I would like to invite PJP's Executive Director, Aramis Sandayata, to tell us more about the important work that this group is doing. Yeah, wherever.
It's always funny to hear what you do, and it's like, what? Because it's funny because you spend so many years doing the work, and then when people read it, it's like, okay, that sounds so professional, and it is not really that professional. No, so yeah, thank you. We are always humbled to share space with you. And while I was here and I heard the discussion on love, a lot of our work is centered in that, and we just happen to do it in the political arena. And when you were talking about it, I happened to remember something, a story about the UU. So the UU Church has been probably the most consistent organization in this city that supports our work. Thank you. And when I say supports, I mean it's very weird to see someone, we call them cotton tops, that are outside with you, fighting cops, and they look like they could cook cookies for you. But they come in droves in their yellow joints, you know what I'm saying? And they get busy, you don't want to mess with them. They got the Bible, and they got the love, you know what I mean? They're gonna come at you. So one of the primary, it's very interesting, and I learned a lot from being in rooms with UUs, but however, one of the funniest stories is a few years ago, I was during COVID, this goes back to love. During COVID, people were wearing a mask and stuff. And so me and my wife, I got married. A lot of people don't know, I just got married last year. And I love her. So she's like, hey, let's go shopping. I'm like, where are we going? She's like, let's go thrifting. Okay, cool. Because I needed a new desk for something. And so we go to the one over there on Indianola. And we're walking and we have the mask on. And I see someone walk in with the PJP shirt, the logo. And I knew who it was, but they didn't, see my face, got a mask on. They had their mask on. And I'm like, yo, Rose, her name is Rose, my wife. Rose, the UU's in the building, son. They got my shirt on. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, Because you never, when you make this stuff, you never think people are actually going to wear it on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So I'm bugging out. I'm in there, should I go talk to her? I know she knows who I am and whatever. I'm like, hey, nice shirt. And she's like, oh, thank you. Have you heard of People Justice Project? I was like, no, who are they? And there's a great organization. They spit the mission statement that she just read, and she's like, we did all these great things with them. You should get to know them. Oh, I'll look into it. Yeah. And then I walked away, and I told my wife, and I'm like, yo, she has no idea that I built it, and I know who she is. And on a Saturday afternoon, she went to her hamper and grabbed the shirt out just to wear on a Saturday afternoon, which is crazy. So, it just blew my mind because you build the organization based off of the fundamentals that we can literally change the conditions materially if we work together. and we just happened to do it in Paloka Arena. And when you see someone that had no idea that you went to Whetstone High School and you used to walk down the street to see this church at 15, 14, 16, that's not right, 14, 15, 16, and will pass it, and then they're the biggest support of your organization, it says something to me personally. And also to know that we shared some type of love if she's walking around in a Black Power fist in Clintonville. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. And like, yeah, we down, son, you know. But like, so all this to say, and again, the work we do, currently, like we have these community conversations coming up this month, it's February, right? February. And then we have a candidates forum because one of our leaders whose son was murdered by the police, Henry Green's mother, she's running for city council. And that's dope, because that doesn't happen in real time. So we're gonna support that. So that's all next month. And literally we're just doing what needs to be done in a quantitative place. And I'm always thankful for you, Amanda, for supporting us. You've always been solid. And your research I still have on my laptop, and I still refer to it oftentimes. And again, we appreciate that you use eternally.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, and
Is that good enough?
yeah, that's great. Thank you. And we have some handouts at the jam table if you guys are interested with some of the dates and stuff that Aramis was talking about. So
we have a digital
yeah. All right.
Thank you.
this morning's caring meditation, I want to start out with an announcement about how we continue to care for you. So we have some support groups that are continuing in this congregation, and maybe not everybody hears about them. We have a caregivers group, a chronic pain group, and a group for those who are widowed. And we are currently offering these virtually. So we provide these groups that offer a way for you to connect with others that might be in a similar situation. Please see me after the service for more information, or leave a message with Marian Garcia in the church office for further information, and I will get a hold of you that way. As I listened to Amanda's recitation, she was resuscitating us too. It's okay. It's all good. This morning, about the deeply spiritual words of Rebecca Ann Parker, I thought about Parker's compelling question: what will you do with your gifts? What will you do with your gifts? Will you choose to bless the world? For your consideration this morning, allow me to offer a Maggie Smith poem, Rain, New Year's Eve. The rain is a broken piano, playing the same note over and over. My 5-year-old said that. Already she knows loving the world means loving the wobbles that you can't shim, the creaks you can't oil silent, the jerry-rigged parts, MacGyvered with twine and chewing gum. Let me love the cold rain's plinking. Let me love the world the way I love my young son, not only when he cups my face in his sticky hands, but when, roughhousing, he accidentally splits my lip. Let me love the world like a mother. Let me be tender when it rains down. Let me listen to the rain's one note and hear a beginner's song. And this morning we lift up. February is, as I'm sure you all know, Black History Month. And this morning I want to lift up Jasmine Brown, an author, a Rhodes Scholar, and a medical student at the University of Pennsylvania. She has a new book out, and it's entitled Twice as Hard: The Stories of Black Women Who Fought to Become Physicians from the Civil War to the 21st Century. Twice as Hard brings the spotlight to the stories of Black women in medicine, whose stories often go overlooked. And it was published last month by our own Beacon Press. We also hold up a history-making moment, the achievements of Captain Janet Days, who became the first Black woman to take command of the Naval Station Norfolk, the world's largest naval base. And while these two high-achieving African-American women deserve much praise and congratulations for their determination and their hard work, I also want to hold up all those individuals, Black women, Black men, and really all of us, who were not able to reach their goals despite their best efforts. Sometimes it seems like the world is stacked against some folks. Let us hold all in our thoughts. And finally, I want to hold up a recent study shedding light on the challenges of long COVID. The constellation of symptoms that can follow the initial COVID infection have affected up to 23 million people in this country. And it's highly disruptive to an individual's way of life, to their family, and to their professional lives. It has been described as an underappreciated yet important reason for the many unfilled jobs and declining labor participation rates. May we hold in our hearts all of those who suffer with the effects of this illness. And now I would like to invite Pat Snyder to come forward and read our joys and sorrows that have been submitted this week and this morning. Oh.
Here. Surprise. I came forward a little early, I guess. This morning, we have no announcements, but we do have 2 cards and invite you to stop by the table in Beach Hall and sign them after the service. The cards mean a lot to those who receive them, and even if you don't know the person, go ahead and sign. It's really important. And I will turn this back over to Kathleen and ask you whatever joys or sorrows you might have brought with you unspoken, let's all hold those still in our hearts gently. Thank you.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit. And we're going to just sing the first verse of this hymn, since we're a little over time. This is number 1014 in your teal hymnal, Answering the Call of Love.
Of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love alive. And so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as far as feet as one.
I invite you now to get close. You can touch elbows or put your hands over you if you don't want to touch each other. Hold each other's hands as we extinguish our chalice this morning. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love.
Keep on till I find it.
we'll have to do this again sometime.